Hey there, love. Welcome to another episode of the Reignited podcast. I'm your host, Jen, and of course, my lovely co host.
I'm Sam.
So, today we're going to do a fun episode, and it's just going to be a girl chat, and we're going to talk about mom life and all of our funny experiences as moms because you know what? I think we don't talk about it enough about all of the goofy things and funny things. Sometimes at the time when you're going through it, you're overwhelmed. And sometimes you cry a little bit. Yes.
Also last week.
You cry a little bit, but you could look back at those experiences now and they're good memories and you could laugh about them.
We'll see.
Put them in a scrapbook. But yeah, so we're just chatting. We got our Starbucks today, of course.
Grab it.
Gotta have our coffee.
Had to get some good drinks today. Oh, jeez.
Let's not. Cheers to mom life.
Moms run on coffee.
Cool moms run on coffee. No, all moms run on coffee. It's
Caffeine and
No
chaos.
bias. Yeah, pretty much. So, we're going to start off talking about the most recent mom endeavors.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. I'm start with my lovely godson, baby Jay.
All right, guys. So this is a good one. So last week, I took him to get a haircut. I'm like, okay, he looks so cute. Like
He looked adorable.
He
He
did.
still looks adorable.
Yeah. So Jason was on my case. He's like, please go take him to get a haircut. I'm like, okay, no problem. Went to the Great Clips up the street.
Mm-hmm.
So
This is great. Just wait for it.
bring him home. And I'm like, you know what? Let's get in the shower because he had hair everywhere. And you know what? He's 2.5. I'm still going to take full advantage of being able to shower with him because it's just so much easier than watching him play in the bathtub for 47 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes it's just easier. You get him in, you get him out, right?
So I'm like, you know what? I need to shave my legs. Okay, I can do this. So I'm shaving my legs. And next thing I know, I have my foot like up on the bathtub and I grab the razor. All of a sudden, this little hand comes from underneath and grabs my razor. So we're fighting over the razor. No. And I'm trying to like look backwards without falling and busting my head open. So I grab the razor and he's like, no, mommy, my razor. And I'm like, no, like this is obviously going to cut you. Well, it did cut him. It cut right in the center of his head of his fresh haircut.
Cut his hair off. Insert clip here.
So Jonathan has a nice bald spot on the top of his head now. Yeah, so I called Jason crying because I was just very emotional about me cutting his beautiful hair off and
Felt like it feels like a mom fail at the time, but it gives your kid some good experience to say like, hey.
the best part was as the hair is going down the drain, Jonathan's like, oh no, mama, my hair. And I'm like, yes, your hair is gone now. Very sorry. So I messaged daycare just to be like, hey, just so you guys know, don't be alarmed, but Jonathan has a bald spot on his head. So I said, just out of curiosity, when are preschool pictures? And she's like, in 3 weeks. I'm like, great. She's like, I'll look at it tomorrow, you know. And so she messages me in the end. She's like, oh, wow, that's really bad. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. So Jason gets home. He has to tell Jonathan every single day now, like, look at what mommy did to your hair. Mommy cut your hair off. I'm like, okay. So Saturday night, we took Joe out for his birthday, and I spiked his hair so you couldn't tell. So I'm like, okay, at least I know he can get one more haircut before pictures, and maybe I could spike his hair.
Yeah.
So then the other day when I went to go pick him up from school, one of the other teachers is like, what happened to Jonathan's head? I'm like, God, I don't even want to talk about this story anymore. Like, I'm so embarrassed, but now it's just become a part of him. So every day when they post pictures in the app, you can totally just see Jonathan's bald spot on the top of his head.
It makes him very unique.
Oh my God, it's so...
Oh
It's
my
so-
gosh. But this is the stuff that happens when you're a mom that nobody talks about. Like, we love to talk about all of the cute, like, funny, well, obviously this is funny, but we like to post about cute things and like the perfect family photos and stuff. And
Or
it's
if
just
they're sick and stuff like that.
right. But nobody really, we as moms are usually too embarrassed to talk about the things that happen. Like,
me cutting Jonathan's hair.
exactly.
Okay, I was crying last week, but it's funny now, I guess.
See, I told you.
And he keeps touching it.
Well, it probably feels weird because probably now it's like growing in. It's growing in weird. But she did. She called me and she was very upset, and I couldn't help but laugh. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I know I'm going to be laughing with you at some point. You're going to laugh about this. And she's like, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to laugh about this at any point. But now you are.
The best part about it was, so the Great Clips that I went to is next door to the Radio Shack that Jason and I used to work at. So
Where your love story technically began.
oh yeah, at the Shack.
The Shack.
The
So you
Love
could say
Shack.
the Shack, and mine is Wendy's. I met Andy at Wendy's, and you met Jason at Radio Shack.
Should have brought
so
down the surprise I got you.
she got me a Wendy's shirt, a Wendy's sweatshirt,
Yeah.
like with the Wendy's logo on it, which is crazy because we worked there for so many years as teenagers. Like from 15, we got that job at, we got that job at 15.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. And I worked there till I was, what, 19, 18, 19? Something like that.
Because I worked at, where did I go? Pump It Up, maybe?
Yeah, we both worked at Pump It
Yeah.
Up for a little bit. Well, we had the 2 jobs. Well,
Yeah.
I know I did. But anyway, more mom life stuff. So, man, but yeah, we're a lot of the times we're a little too embarrassed to talk about it. And we're talking about it on a podcast, which we want to bring light to it though. And let moms know that it's okay, especially new moms or first time moms. I'm a mom veteran. I have 4, obviously, as everyone should know. If you don't already know, I have 4 children. So for me, I can laugh about these things now because I have so many kids and I've been through it so many times. But for new moms or first time moms, it's different. Like certain things happen and you feel like your world is crashing down. You're like, oh my God, how did I let that happen?
But you know what? I feel like now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I have a 2.5-year-old. Not only that, I have a 2.5-year-old boy.
Oh,
And at this
boys are
point,
fun.
I'm like, you know what? I just don't even care.
let me tell you, it's boys, they are fun. I have 3 boys and then I had my daughter, and it's like a totally different world from having boys to going to a girl. I'm still adjusting from
Yeah, I
going from
bet.
3 boys to a girl. And my daughter's 5, and I'm still like learning the ropes of being a girl mom. But anyway, but with my boys, they're so much fun though. I mean, they're a little crazy.
They are crazy.
They're a little crazy. Like, oh man, I know Jordan, my youngest son, he was probably the most energetic and spunky and adventurous, and he was always like the one to like jump up on a couch and like show me, to be like, hey mom, I'm Superman, and he'd like jump off the couch and like fly and like land on the floor, and I'd be like, oh my God.
He's still the same way, but Jonathan loves Jordan so much.
He is the same. You know what? He hasn't changed. He's still so fun. Like every kid that meets him loves him because he's just so full of
goofy.
energy. And yeah, he's a silly boy, and he just loves to make kids laugh. Like he loves to make everyone laugh, but especially kids, and especially Baby J. He loves Baby J. And Jossie's like the total opposite. She likes to nurture him and take care of him. And oh my God, Baby J. And like when I was babysitting Baby J when he was he was a baby. It was, I remember.
When I went back to work.
Yeah, it was your
was
first day back to work.
4 months old, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he was little.
He was a baby.
So I watched the baby when he was only 4 months old, and it was Sam's first day back to work, and she was having a lot of anxiety. So I told her, I'll watch him. Like, I'll watch him, we'll have fun. He'll take his naps. He'll do whatever. So she was like, okay. So I gave her some peace of mind. And my daughter was only, man, she was a lot younger. How old was she?
3?
Yeah, she was 3 years old. That's right. So she was 3, and I remember putting him down for a nap. And I wasn't even talking or saying anything. And she's like, Mama, you need to be quiet. And I'm like, excuse me? She's like, you're being too loud. Baby J is sleeping. Do you see him? And I'm like, yeah, I just put him in the playpen. I see him. He's sleeping. She's like, okay, shh. And I'm like, oh, well, excuse me. But she was such a little mom. She just wanted to feed him and take care of him. And
She even helps with his diapers unless he goes poop. She has to ask first.
She didn't want to have anything to do with the poopy diapers, but she wanted to help, like, give me the diaper, give me the wipes, or the cream if we needed the Dositin or whatever. But she's
very nurturing.
She's very nurturing and bossy, as figures.
She's a little girl.
Well, she's a mini me. You don't realize how bossy you are, how sassy you are until you have a kid that's just like you, and then you're like, what is happening?
Jonathan was yelling at the dogs to come inside. So we always let Casey and Wrigley in the backyard, and then Jessie and Tessie we let on the side of the house because they're smaller, and poor Jessie has a hard time seeing. So I never realized how much I actually yell at the dogs to come inside until Jonathan opens the door and he's like, hey, come inside. And he's like, Sissy, Casey, inside. And then they come inside and he's like, outside. And I'm like, do you want them inside? Do you want them outside?
They're probably confused. Like, they have no idea what to do. Jossie's like that too. And you don't realize it. When you have a million animals or dogs like we do. And my daughter does the same thing. She's like, Maddie, Lola, no. No, you don't do that. Or she'll be like, go outside. Go outside right now, I said. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you're so bossy. Oh, it's just
the best is, do you remember, I think it was a few weeks ago. So I think it was Jessie went pee on the floor and I was mopping and I'm like, why, Jessie, why? And the next day, Jonathan grabs the mop and he's fake mopping. He's like, why, Jessie, why?
This is why you have to be careful on the things that you say and what you do in front of your kids. And sometimes it's just inevitable. You're yourself and you're reacting to life and things that happen and your kids just back it up like that. But
Jaden did that a lot too, though. Jaden repeated everything.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. My second son, Jaden, he's now 13, but man, it's funny because I thought that Jaden was going to be kind of my troublemaker because he kind of was when he was little because it was just Julian and Jaden. And Julian, my oldest son, he was just, typical boy, loved all the, being crazy in sports and all of that. But he was pretty mellow and laid back, and didn't really get into trouble. But Jaden, oh my goodness, he was one that you had to really be careful what you said because as a little boy, he would just repeat it and he didn't know what he was saying, but he would just say it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just anybody that was in front of him, I'm like, please be mindful of your language in front of my child. But yeah. And then thinking
still
about
like that.
Oh, my JJ. He's so mellow, though. My boys, as they got older, they mellowed out. Now they're just really cool, calm, and collective. My older ones. My JoJo's still a ball of energy. But, man, and Jaden used to do the craziest things. I remember Julian, he would do some goofy things. I remember he was always sneaking in the fridge at night. That was the weirdest thing. He would sneak in the fridge at night, and I had to put a lock on the fridge. He was probably about 3. I think he was about 3. And he would take the most ridiculous things. And he wouldn't always eat it. But, he would take the carton of eggs. I don't know if he thought he was going to cook or... I don't know what he thought he was doing, in his bedroom. But he did have they had a little play set, kitchen play set where they had pots and pans. And I found a cracked egg in the little, one of the little plastic pans. And I really think he thought he was going to cook the egg in his room. I don't think he understood the concept. He was, again, 2 or 3 years old. But yeah, hiding stuff under his bed. I was like, oh my goodness. And then,
Do you remember
Sorry,
the
Jews.
spider? What you just had Julian and Jaden at the time. Jojo might have been a baby, but I remember you called me with
No, that was when Andy was deployed for the very first time. He was deployed in Afghanistan. He was gone for a long time. And I had just had, I had Jaden. So it was just Julian and Jaden. Oh my gosh.
Julian screams. I'll never get them out of my head.
So we lived where we lived at the time. We lived right in front of literally like a forest preserve. So, and I was living on my own, like, again, operating as a single mom. I've done that a lot throughout like my life with my kids because my husband's just military life, you know? So, and he's been deployed a lot. But there was this one time, and I was on the phone with Sam, and I wasn't expecting it. It was the summertime, and my boys were not far from me, and there was this huge spider, like the biggest spider I think I've ever seen. And the butt was like ginormous. Like it was gross. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a spider. And then Julian screams like, ah!
Oh my God. Julian grabbed the hairspray.
Well, I told my poor Juju, even when I'm terrified of spiders, okay? And my Julian, he's always been like the man to step up, even when he was little, and he would kill the bugs for me. And right away, he grabbed the hairspray because I'm like, we gotta kill it. And I was trying to muster up the courage to smash it, and I just couldn't. I was like, it was so big. But it was about to go in my vent. So then I started panicking, and Julian grabs the hairspray. And again, he was little. I mean, smart thinking, but Lord have mercy. He took the hairspray and he sprayed the spider. He sprayed almost the whole can of hairspray on the spider. And we had to open all the windows, and we were like, it was terrible. But then that's not even the worst part because it was still alive. It was still like moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I smash it. I smashed the spider, and it was pregnant. And there was a million little baby spiders that came out of it. And I was traumatized in my poor kids. Like, Jaden was he was a little baby, but Julian was like, Mom, look at all the babies everywhere. And I swear, like, I almost died, like right there. And for weeks, we found little baby spiders all over. Like, it... baby spider story, that was terrifying. But other crazy things, let's see, my kids have done. Jaden, again, we'll go back to my JJ. Yeah, so I took away the markers and the crayons from my boys because they had a field day and decided to color all over the walls in their bedroom. And the same day that they did that, they got into the baby powder, a whole bottle of baby powder. Again, we'll insert clip here. A whole bottle of baby powder in their room. They went on just this.
I remember that.
They were acting like it was snow all over. I walked into the room, and it was just white, like a white cloud. They had it all over them from head to toe. And I see Julian, he's got his arms out, and he's just spinning around literally like it was snowing. It was the most ridiculous thing. It was funny. It took forever to clean it up, though.
I bet.
Oh my gosh. And then, yeah, I had taken away. So yeah, they were in trouble that day because they took the baby powder and then they were coloring on the walls. So I took all of it away, and I don't remember where I stored it. I think I stored it like somewhere like in the closet, but Jaden figured out where I kept them, and he loved to draw on everything but paper or coloring books. And oh my gosh, he was supposed to be in bed sleeping. I remember I put them to bed, and I could hear Jaden like talking to Julian. So I went to check on him, and he was, again, little. I think he was 3 because he was still like potty training. I think he was still in pull-ups. But I go in the room, and Jaden like is standing there looking at me, and he got into the markers. Thank God they were washable. He got into the markers, and he drew all over his body, like everywhere. Like around his eyeballs. It looked like he had black eyes because he told me he was trying to draw a superhero mask on his face. And he had like black and red marker like all over his eyeballs, all over his face, his whole body. Like His whole body. He took his PJs off and just had his pull-up on and literally colored everywhere. And the crazy thing is even though they're washable markers, they don't really come off
No.
right away. So my kid, I had to go out with my child with marker still on his body. I think we got most of it off his face, but on like his arms and stuff, even after a bath, it was still kind of like barely faded, but
Washable markers are not as washable as they say. They're
They're
just like
really
washable
not.
paint.
no, washable paint really isn't either because it's like the stain of the color stain.
Yes. Do you remember when I decided that it was a great idea to do a teacher gift for Meet the Teacher, and I let Jonathan paint on his own, and I come back, insert picture, and it's literally just like he was eating it, and it was just everywhere, and he just looks at me and he's like, "Oh no, Mama," and I'm like,
That seems to be Baby J's famous line.
"Oh
Is,
no,
oh no, oh no, Mama,
oh no, Mama."
oh no.
But I'll be like, "Oh no, baby." He go, "Oh no, baby, what happened?"
Well, yeah, that's because you say it to him all the time. You don't realize it, and then he's like, "Oh no, oh no, oh man, that's funny."
They're little parrots,
Yeah, they are. They really are.
both of them.
But it's funny to hear them like act like you in a good way too, though. Like I know there's bad ways, but in good ways, like where they're doing things. Like my daughter, like she became like the household like master, in terms of cleaning. So she tells her brothers like, let's clean, pick that up. She'll get she has her own little cleaning supplies, like the fake ones, she's got like a little bucket and has like little sponges and fake like spray, and she'll get it out. And her little vacuum, she has that little, I think Baby J had it, maybe
The Dyson?
the Dyson
Yeah.
one. So it looks so real. They have like a little play Dyson vacuum, and it's super cool.
I
because
let the Baby Shark one die.
the baby, my gosh. Well, I hated those things. Like anything that made noise or popped, especially those
But the
little
Dyson
popper
picks
things.
up.
It does kind of a little bit. It doesn't work that good, but
Yeah.
it actually does work. It sucks up things. So she'll start vacuuming, and she'll tell everybody, like she'll tell the boys, pick that up. You need to clean up your mess. Like take out the trash. And
That's what they like to play with when Jossie comes over. They are a tornado though. They
Oh, yeah.
literally
Pull out
will
everything.
turn the toy room into a disaster in like the matter of seconds.
That's what happens.
But they always play with the kitchen, and they always play with the cleaning stuff.
Yeah, Jossie she loves like baking, even on her little tablet. She watches like kids baking shows and stuff. She loves baking and science, which is crazy.
I like that though.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see your kids not only like pick up good habits that you have or what you would consider good habits, but it's also cool to see them kind of develop on their own and like what they like and their little personalities, because it's just like, wow, I made this little human. And like even with Baby J, like he's starting to kind of blossom, and you're able to see kind of what he likes, what are his likes, what are his dislikes, what kind of tunes does he watch, what types of toys does he play with, what sparks his interest.
I thought it was a really good idea to let him watch Jurassic Park the other day. And
Oh
I
my
realized
gosh,
that
I could
it
just
is
imagine.
Not a good idea anymore.
No.
I had to let him know that the dinosaurs were playing with the people.
Yeah.
They were playing a little rough, but it's okay. So now we're back to his safe shows like Blue's Clues and Paw Patrol.
That's why you have to be careful what your kids watch too, because it could scar them. And you don't purposely do it. Oh man, it's funny though.
It is, you know what? I just, at this point, like I said, I don't care. He's funny though. It's great because, I'll drink my coffee or eat a dessert and just be like, so good. And when we went out for Joe's birthday on Saturday, he kept eating the cake. I have a video of him, and he says, thanks, Papa. And he takes the cake and he's like, so good.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That little clip. Oh, I should put the little clip right here. It's so cute. Oh my goodness.
They're all crazy. And then, it's like you go into their relationship with like the puppies and how crazy all of them are together.
Yeah. Well, yeah, kids and animals, and especially kids and dogs, are just the greatest thing. I think that if you have a family pet or you have a family dog while you have kids and they grow up with them, it's just so cool to see because you get to see them interact. And oh my gosh, I think those are some of the best memories too with a lot of our family dogs and my kids. Man, now we have 2 little dogs. I have a mini Dachshund and a Shih Tzu, and then we have a French Bulldog coming October 1st. Raya, she's going to be a new addition to our family. But for the most part, like through like earlier on in my life, as I started having kids, I always had big dogs. And I grew up with like big dogs, German Shepherds. We always had huge like German Shepherds. And it was just funny to see because my kids could literally ride the dogs like Mama Brandy. We had a boxer.
She's so sweet.
I miss her. She passed away years ago. She was an old girl. We had gotten her when I was a teenager, but I remember how good she was with the boys, very protective over them, and they would ride her back. They would get on her, man, and she just didn't care. She just let them do whatever. And yeah.
That's how Casey is now, because Jonathan, he was confused at first when we had Casey, and then, he'd learn about ponies in school, and then he'd think that Casey was a pony, and I'm like, no, Casey's just a really big dog.
Looks like a pony. She's almost bigger than a pony. She's huge.
She's a big girl.
Oh, I love her, though. She's so sweet.
You know what I was...
Casey is a Great Dane, by the way, if you haven't watched previous episodes. Yep. Yeah, she is very massive, but she's such a sweetheart.
She is a sweetheart. That was Aunt Kim's baby, and I remember it was like a month or 2 ago now. Casey's still newer to our family, so I'm not used to having a dog that big. Like, when Jesse and Tessie are little, and
so she's got
Wrigley's mid-size. She's like 45 pounds, so having a 135-pound moose now in the house, I was going to get Jonathan milk, and I came around the corner, and my heart kind of stopped for a minute because I just saw like this white like figure out of the corner of my eye. And I'm like, is there a ghost? Like, I was so scared I stopped dead in my tracks. No, Casey put her blanket over her head, and she was walking around and looked like a giant ghost walking around in my house.
Well, she loves that blanket. I notice anytime I go there, she's... Oh, so again, little backstory if you don't. Hold on. So a little backstory if you haven't watched previous episodes with me and my lovely co-host. Sam talks a little bit about inheriting Casey, who is the Great Dane. That was our Aunt Kim's. I say our because she's my Aunt Kim too. I've known her since I was 6, since we became friends, and she's been my aunt. And I love her, miss her dearly. She recently passed away, unfortunately, but Sam did inherit Casey, and she's amazing. But it's just funny because Casey has little quirks that, like the blanket, which was Aunt Kim's. So she carries that blanket around everywhere. And then I see like she puts it in her mouth and she'll lay on it, or she'll drag it around the house. And she's so massive, and you just see this massive like dog with this big blanket just dragging it around the house. But when she told me about the blanket story with Casey putting it over like her whole body and walking around.
It's totally Aunt Kim. I just laughed. I was like, this is Aunt Kim. Jason had to pry that blanket away from her to wash it the other day.
Oh, I believe it because every time I've gone over there, it's been like right there with her. Like she has it like snuggled. She puts it in her mouth.
Well, it's the same with, Jay. He loves his blankets like so much. So it's so
comfort
funny.
thing.
It is. Okay, sorry guys. We had some technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties with the spider. We'll make sure we input that footage somewhere in this episode.
Yeah, that was
bloopers reel.
Okay, that was good.
That was terrifying. We just saw a massive spider, and he left my shoe over there with spider guts. Oh, for the love of God. Anyway,
Julian saved us. Thanks, Julian.
Yeah,
kids are good.
Well, that was perfect timing for this episode, though. We're talking about mom life, and when your kids get older, then, they can kill spiders for you, and you can,
Jonathan helps with spiders, but
Probably in a different way though than my kids. Like,
no, not anymore because I scarred him for life when
oh, great.
we went for a walk. It was probably like a few weeks ago, and we're in the garage, and Jason and I are talking to Joe, and I'm holding Jonathan. And all of a sudden, I heard something screech, and it flew in my hair, and I put Jonathan down, and I freak out. Like, I'm screaming. Like, I'm shocked our neighbors didn't come out thinking that
Something was wrong.
Yeah. And I was like, it's in my hair, it's in my hair. Jonathan screaming, crying. He's like, oh no, mommy, 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 like freaking out. He would not even let me put him down. He had to sleep with me. Like, I had to make sure I was holding him. So I think I've kind of scared him a little bit.
What was
now.
in your hair?
It was
spider?
a cicada.
A
Joe and Jason bring it inside on top of it, and it's like this big, and they're holding it by its wing.
oh my God.
And I'm like, no. Yeah, so obviously, random fact, Jen and I, bugs are a no-go.
We don't do bugs. We just don't. It doesn't matter what type of bug it is. We just don't do them. And
Nope.
the studio here, I have multiple studios down here, but it's in my basement. My basement's finished, so it's fully finished, but that doesn't change the fact that you still get spiders down here. And because it's still technically kind of summer-ish, summer weather here, man, they're just everywhere, and they're getting bigger and bigger. I don't know what's happening, but the cicadas are like, I feel like this year they've been really bad.
They are. I can hear them at work.
They're like everywhere. I have a cicada story too. I had told the kids to let the dogs out, and I didn't realize that they let them back in. So I heard this like literally scratching at the door. So I'm like, guys, I told you to let the dogs in, you know? So I open the door, and it's a freaking cicada. Huge cicada. And it goes, wah, wah, wah. It's like screeching.
It's so gross.
And it comes in my house, and it flies at me. As you can see by our reaction with the spider, you can imagine what my reaction was. I started yelling for Julian. I'm like, Jojo, come kill this thing. And it was like squawking, and it was like flying all over the kitchen.
They're so gross.
They're gross, and they're big. I mean, that one was huge, and they're so loud.
I never used to be afraid of bugs when I was little until my dad, I remember I used to play with roly-polies.
Oh.
And he told me I was going to get a disease and die if I kept touching them, so I never touched them again. Then I used to rip daddy long legs. I used to rip their legs off.
Ew, that's terrible. What's wrong with you?
It's okay. Then I never touched one again because my dad said I'd get a disease and died. So thanks, Dad. You're the reason why I am the way that I am now.
Oh, your dad was hilarious. He used to say the craziest things.
Yeah,
And
he was.
now as an adult, we didn't know better as kids, but now as an adult, we're like, wait a minute. That's not right.
I'm pretty sure he got some of his jokes off of Alf because we introduced Jonathan to Alf last weekend. I'm sure everybody has seen Alf.
If you haven't seen Alf, you can Google it. But
So I didn't realize the humor in that show until I started watching it as an adult. And I'm like, oh my God, this is hilarious. And then he'd say jokes, and I'm like, oh my God, that's where my dad got these jokes from. They're so terrible. They're so stupid.
oh my God. Well, at least he pulled it off for all those years without you knowing it was from Alf. But now it's just funny now that you get to watch it and kind of reminisce. But, well, that's what we do as parents too. Sometimes we have to tell our kids like certain things so they won't do certain things, like pulling legs off daddy long legs and
whatever.
playing with roly-polies. I used to do it too. You used to like roll them up, and then
I haven't really seen too many of those.
they're not, I don't know.
Do you remember the biggest lie was it was illegal to turn the light on in the car at night?
My mom told me that too. Because whenever we'd have to turn it on, it was like, you can't do that. We're going to get pulled over. We're going to get a ticket. You can't turn the light on.
Now I understand. It's just because they couldn't see. I feel you now.
My kids, I think I said that before to my kids because Jordan would always press the lights in the back. Jordan would always press the lights in the back, like in the back of the truck. While I was driving, like he would just, turn them on. I'm like, turn them off. I'm going to get a ticket. And he's like, you can get a ticket? I'm like, I don't know. I think so. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he doesn't do it anymore while I'm driving. But I I don't think there's any truth behind that.
There's not. I mean, it's funny, like how certain things that our parents would say to us as children that we say to our children now. And I catch myself saying stuff all the time, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm turning into my mom and dad.
I know. I catch myself too.
It's
Now that we're older, it's different. It's different, especially having kids and raising kids. I definitely have sympathy for my parents now.
oh, yes.
I definitely do. Oh man, it's crazy.
Well, it's funny because I started counting with Jay when he is bad now. And I'll be like, 1, 2. And then Jason's always like, what are you going to do if you get to 3? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't made it that far. Like, he normally listens after 1 and 2.
Just wait. I used to do that with Jordan because, again, he was like always the one that was super spunky and always adventurous and always trying to test the limits, right? I remember if I told him not to touch something, I'm like, don't touch it. He would be like, I'm like, don't do it. And he's like he just couldn't help himself. And I would count with him. And I would go 1, 2, and then he would, he'd stop. But at some point, today is just an interesting day, I'm telling you. But at some point, he would be like, he started counting with me, like just testing me. So I'd be like 1, he'd be like 2. I'm like, and then I'm thinking like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do when I get to that point? Like you could put him in timeout, you put him in the room. But man, it was funny because he'd be like, I'd be like, that's it. I'm counting. I'm going to count.
You know what's funny? Emily, you will appreciate this. Emily's my little sister if you're watching. I remember my stepmom was counting to 3. Emily was on the landing at the townhouse and she had an airplane. She goes, Emily, don't you do it. She's like, 1, 2. And then she got to 3 and Emily threw the airplane at her. And I'll never forget. I laughed so hard that night. And then she definitely got in big trouble after that. So I'm like, okay, well, sorry, Em, I had to throw you under the bus with that one because that was kind of funny. We want to hear some of your guys' funny stories.
Tell us in the comments.
Yes, I definitely love funny even when you were even if you don't have kids, if you have fur children, tell us funny stories about them
or what you did maybe as a kid, because I know a lot of people have funny stories, but like even my little brother too. I only have one younger brother, and man, he was just hilarious. Like, I'm totally calling you out, baby bro. But I was just talking to my brother and my mom about this story, like, and this is how kids are. It's so funny. But my brother went to a garage sale in our neighborhood. He asked my mom for a couple of dollars because he's like, I want to go to this garage sale. And it was like right a couple houses down. And so my mom's like, okay. So he goes, and he was young. He was little. He goes to this garage sale and he comes back with these red cowboy boots.
I remember that.
These bright red cowboy boots. And he put them on the wrong feet. And he comes home. He comes home and he's like, Jenny. Because my brother always called me Jenny. I was known as Jenny back in the day. But he came up to me and he goes, Jenny, look at my cowboy boots. And he like did this little like gallop. And I was laughing so hard. And he wore those cowboy boots everywhere. He would wear them with shorts, with pants, with no pants. Like, he would always wear them. And it was just the funniest thing, man.
We love you, Cuz, even if you would follow us everywhere.
Yeah, I love you, baby bro. Yeah, that was another thing. As little kids, my brother, I mean, we were 6 years apart. So my brother was really little when I was older. And he would just want to be everywhere I was. And, man, I'll never forget the time where I went swimming at my friend's, and my brother he was little. He was still in diapers, and I was right down the street, like a couple houses down, and he followed me over there. Yeah. And I had gotten in the pool and I was swimming with my friends. But yeah, my brother, he followed me to my friend's house as I was swimming, and he was right in front, and he was like yelling. He's like, Jenny, I want to go swimming. I'm like, no, go home. Yeah, I was like, no, you need to go home. Go home. And I remember my friend's mom had to call my mom because I don't even think she realized, like, she was cleaning and she didn't realize, like, he ran down the street. So she came and she had to run and come get him because then he, like, started taking his clothes off so he could come and go swimming, and he was running around naked in front of my friend's house so all the neighbors could see. And yeah, like, her mom was like, hey, you need to come get your son, he's running around naked in front of the house, he wanted to go swimming. But it's just like funny stuff like that. My brother did a ton of funny things when he was little.
You don't realize how like just sweet and innocent they are too.
Yeah, because they don't know any better. I mean, they're little, it's like he just wanted to go swimming, he just thought he could go swimming. And I think even with my kids too, it's like some of the stuff they've done or some of the things that they even do now, it's just so innocent, but it's so funny because maybe not always in the moment. Sometimes you get frustrated. You're like, oh my gosh. But it's
There's
hilarious.
Always humor and everything. And
there is. You have to laugh about it because if you don't laugh about it, you're going to cry about it. But no, you really need to. I think what I've realized throughout the years is that just being a mom and being so stressed sometimes, you just let life get in the way and you don't really sit back and enjoy those little silly moments with your kids. But when you do sit back and you look at it, or you look at a photo album, or you look at pictures, you just remember like really good memories. And just a tip for you today, even if you're not a mom, even if you're just, even if you're just a single lady, or you're married or whatever, and you don't have kids, or I think the most important thing in life, one of the most important things in life, is to enjoy it. Enjoy life. Don't be so stuck on all of the chaos that's happening around you, because I've done that. I've done it. I've been there. I've let life stress me out, and
there's no need for it anymore, And it's the same, even if you have nieces and nephews. I mean, I'm definitely like that crazy funny aunt, but it's just that love that like you have for your nieces, your nephews, your godchildren. I mean,
hey, you love them like they're your own.
Look at we'll let Alyssa tell you guys that story in the comments.
Our other bestie, Alyssa,
about Ella, our lovely, beautiful niece. I've taught her a couple bad things in life. So
well, and that's the beauty of being an aunt too. Like if you're just an aunt, like where I'm an aunt as well, and I love all of my nieces and nephews, and
they're great.
I just
enjoy it. Enjoy every moment with them. I feel like Jonathan was just this baby, and
the time goes by so fast.
Yeah, now he's 2.5, and we're starting to potty train, and we're gonna transition his room, but then it's like the little moments, like the other night, he just wanted me to hold him while he drank his milk, and he wanted to lay on my chest, and but then I can look back and laugh at me shaving a huge chunk out of his head.
But it's balance. It's just part of motherhood, is part of life, and it's just so beautiful. And I love that we can sit here and we can chat about it and we can laugh about it. And we hope you guys got, some laughs in today. Thank you for being here with us and sharing our lovely stories about our kids and about our family and nieces and nephews. We wanted this episode to just be fun and, just share. And we're going to have a lot more episodes like this too in the future, where we're just going to talk about.
We'll have some guests, we'll hear
their fun
stories.
Things.
Yeah, I mean.
Right. It's a balance, right? Because life it's not just one thing. It's not just, again, it's the whole purpose of this podcast. We're touching on everything. We're touching on life. But at the same time, we want to be able to sit and laugh and joke and talk about.
It's real. It's raw. I mean.
The good stuff. Yeah. And sometimes you do have to laugh. Laughter is the best medicine, they say. And I totally agree. But yeah.
Yeah, until you become a mom, and then laughing is a dangerous game.
It is a dangerous game, as is smelling things and tasting things.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what you're getting yourself into. But it's such a beautiful ride. And being a mom has been such a blessing. And even being a mom young, for me, that's the experience I had, was really getting to grow up with my children. And I really wouldn't have changed it any other way. And everyone does it differently. Some people have kids older in life, and whatever works for you. For me, I really enjoyed the time that I did get to spend young being with my kids. I was able to keep up with them. But there was also times where it was just really, really difficult and I struggled. But again, like now I can look back at the things my kids did, and it's just, it's wonderful memories.
It is. It's great, you know. And I became a mom a little bit older in life, and you know, I still want to have another baby. That's our goal, you know. We want to have another baby. I want to give Jonathan a sibling, and
it's gonna happen. It will definitely happen.
Enjoying these moments with Jonathan, like, you know, I laugh all the time, and I call him my little broke best friend because he's literally my little broke best friend. Like, I do everything with that child, you know, and I do everything with the dogs, and you know, it's just, I love being able to laugh and just enjoy this ride.
Well, that's why kids are such a blessing. They are. They really are such a blessing.
Crazy, but they're definitely a blessing. Especially when you realize that everything that your parents told you in life, like you're going to have a kid one day that's going to be exactly like you.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, well, you know, I want a boy. Oh, that doesn't matter, honey, because
Still
my
gonna
boy
be like you.
he might look like his dad, but man, that child is 100% me.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me. With even my boys, I see some of me, you know, and then I see some of my husband. But with my daughter, I see a little bit of my husband, you know, every once in a while. But man, I'd say out of all my kids, she is the most like me. And
her and Julian, Jaden and Jordan are a lot of Andy.
Yeah, they're a lot like their dad. They have a lot of his mannerisms and his personality. But
Jesse's all you.
Yeah, Julian, my oldest and my youngest, is crazy. They look the most like me too. And then Jaden and Jordan look more like Andy.
Jordan's starting to look a lot more like Andy now.
Yeah,
like,
as he's getting older. Yeah, he's changing.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing too, seeing your kids grow up. They change and they develop and they grow, and it's just such a blessing. It's such a blessing. I don't ever take for granted being a mom and having kids, because I know so many women are not able to. And it's just, it is such a blessing. But
it is a blessing. I mean,
yeah,
Jonathan saved my life, and we'll talk more about that. And
that's
in another episode.
That's definitely something we need to talk about, because I think for Sam, it's raising awareness, because you were at such a dark place in your life, and your son literally was your saving grace. And man, he was so God-given. It was right on time. He was right on time for someone that struggles with PCOS and didn't think she didn't think she was going to be able to have kids. So that's going to be a really
that'll be
eye-opening episode, I think.
That'll be digging deeper into, you know, going into what happened and the grief of not knowing if I'll be able to have a baby. That's why I think Jonathan's not just special to me. He's special to everybody, and all the loss that, you know, we've
experienced.
All been through. And Jonathan is just, he's exactly what I needed, and he is exactly what other people needed. But yeah, I'm going to be very excited to talk about that. And I hope that, you know, that can help other women know that just because you have PCOS, and I'm going through my own struggles right now, which we'll touch base on, to get me to the point where I can have another baby and give Jonathan a brother or a sister. But, you know, and I just enjoy him. That's pretty much it. I mean, we really want to hear about your families. Tell us about your kids, your fur kids. Share pictures, share stories. If you have any videos, like, show us. We want to know everything.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your stories and your experiences. And so feel free to share. You can share here in the comments section if you're on YouTube, or honestly, just if you're interested in being featured on one of the podcasts, if you want to feature your story, let us know. Feel free to reach out. You can private message us.
Go on the Facebook page,
Go on the Facebook page. And if you're not a part of Women Reignited, definitely go subscribe to the newsletter on the website, livereignited.com, and scroll to the bottom, and there's a little box that allows you to subscribe. It's free. It's a free newsletter. But once you do that, you get access to Women Reignited, which is our private Facebook community. And that's a good place that we'll be sharing a lot of those stories too. So if you're looking to just share privately, but still have feedback,
and
that's a good place to do it.
Right now in the group, as many women know, September is actually PCOS Awareness Month. So that's something we've been talking about and, learning other people's struggles or what they've done to kind of help with their PCOS symptoms. So, feel free to join the group and let me know, like, if you're a mom that suffers with PCOS or, anything, endometriosis, I have
any type of fertility, type of fertility issue. So, again, that group is really, it's a community. So we share about everything. That's the whole point of Live Reignited and the Reignited podcast. We're talking about all the things that women go through. And that's the whole point. But man, we are right now, because it is PCOS Awareness Month. We are spreading awareness. Sam will be happy to provide some resources, maybe things you've used, maybe some support groups as well. If you're looking to get a little bit more deeper than what we're doing with Women Reignited. So we will be sharing stories and things like that. But definitely Sam is a good resource for that, because that's something she's struggled with herself. So, and then moving forward, we'll be sharing a little bit more stories. We'll have additional guests, maybe sharing their journeys with fertility issues.
So
and
let us know what else you guys want to talk about. What do you guys want to see? What are some of your struggles about? Maybe just anxiety and depression. That's another huge topic to.
Right. We've touched on that in Women Reignited as well. And again, we are not, we're not medical doctors. Disclaimer, we are not medical doctors. We are not medical. Well, Sam is a medical professional, but not in that sense. We're not counselors, but we do provide resources if you need them that we know of, that can help. And we just spread and raise awareness, and we open the conversation. The whole point is to spark the conversation and talk about it.
You want to end the stigma on mental health issues. I mean, it's a huge part of everybody. I don't think I've ever met one person that hasn't had some form of anxiety or depression, but and let us know what else you guys want to talk about. And
I know, like, we'll be chatting too about just other struggles. Like, even for myself, I struggle with health issues as well. I was diagnosed just recently. It's only been a couple of years with Hashimoto's disease, so that's been a struggle, and I'm still on that journey. So that, I think, is it's going to be another episode. Just again, chatting about it, talking about it, ending the stigma of not being able to talk about these things and keep them open, because women struggle with these things, these
body imaging, Jen talking about Hashimoto's. I just got diagnosed with hypothyroidism. So it's all real life things that I think we all need to talk about. So let us know in the comments or in one of the Facebook groups what else you guys want to see and talk about.
Absolutely, because we love to spread awareness and open the conversation. So healthy conversation and ending it on a positive note. Like, what are things you can do, resources that you can utilize, and how you can still live a fulfilling life even if you're struggling with these things. So
even if it's getting coffee and going to Target.
Cheers. Well, thank you so much, loves, for chatting with us today. We really enjoyed it. We'll definitely be doing some more girl chat, mom chat episodes. Let us know if you enjoyed it. We'd love to get your feedback. But we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, a blessed rest of your week, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah. But it's so normal when oh my God, Jen, look at the size of that spider.
Where?
Look at the size of that spider.
Where?
It's crawling.
Oh my God, kill it. No! Oh my God. Oh my God, it stopped. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Julian!
Julian! Julian! Julian!
Julian!
had a heart attack.